have a problem. The main problem is I've become obsessed with these. He doesn't know who I'm talking to. It's okay. They are currently residing on my nightstand, taking up altogether too much space. So I wanted to do something to address that issue. I was inspired by this TikTok. This girl got one of the Hirono boxes and she turned it into a little home, which I thought was very cute because the video that they released of the Hironos like sadly walking around looking for a home, give them a home, please. And then I realized that my skull pandas were indeed homeless as well. Recently, I've been seeing a lot of paper mache dollhouses. I've also seen a lot of paper clay recently. You make a cardboard structure and then you apply the paper clay to it and then you can decorate it. And it just seems like a really cute, accessible way to do some sculpting. I am in need of a very low pressure arts and crafts project right now. And so I thought, what better way to go about this than to attempt to make some little wall shelves that I can turn into like individual homes. So I think that's what I'm gonna try to do. I have some cardboard from some of these getting mailed to me, so I'm gonna use that. I do want to eventually make like each of my skull pandas their own individual room. I'm gonna start with one though. My idea is to kind of like make almost like a shadow box for each of them, and then I can kind of like control where I hang them. That's gonna be a lot better than like making like say a dollhouse for them, because I don't have shelf space for a dollhouse, but I do have plenty of wall space all over the house, which I'm sure my wife will not mind. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get started with making the cardboard structure, I think. So here I'm just kind of mapping out the general shape and structure I want it to take before cutting out the pieces and taping them together. This will eventually get covered with paper clay. I then just make sure that my skull pandas fit in there the way that I want them to. I am about to go into the Michaels. So that I can get some paper clay. You can make paper clay probably for like way cheaper than buying it, but I've never used it before. I don't even know if I like it, and that's a lot of effort for a material that I don't even know if I like it. I'm also gonna see if there's any paper in there that I think would make a cute wallpaper. I think I am gonna do the little house for Ratty Bear just because I feel inspired by the like purples and the kind of like worn out vibes right now. So that's what I'm gonna do. At first I felt completely devastated because I could not find the clay I was looking for. These were all just regular air dry clay. I did eventually find it though. I then went ahead and looked for some wallpaper options. I did end up going with the second booklet just because it had more options that I thought would work for future projects as well. Now that I've arrived home with the paper clay, I basically just start squashing it onto the cardboard. At first I had a really difficult time getting the clay to stick to the cardboard. Eventually it kind of just started sticking to itself, which helped a lot. I basically was just trying to squish out the clay to make really thin little strips. I eventually tried to roll it with a Sharpie, which kind of worked, but it was honestly just as effective to just squish it with my hands. I did eventually basically start running out of clay. I luckily did have just enough clay to fully cover the entire structure. Eventually I was down to just like a teeny tiny little bit. It did get pretty thin in some areas. I did also decide to add a little hook to the top that I could hang their little keychains from, and then it's all done. Hello. As I was doing some editing, I came to the realization that one of my files got corrupted. Essentially, in that video, I was explaining the paper clay unfortunately cracked while it was drying, which is exactly what I was afraid of. A lot of air dry clays do this. I was hoping that the paper clay would be different somehow, even though it is still an air dry clay, just a different kind of air dry clay. I have had many experiences with air dry clays cracking as they're drying. I thought it would be different this time. There are things you can do to avoid that happening quite as bad. You can cover the structure as it's drying with like a bag so that it dries slower. I knew this going into this project, but I didn't do it because I was like, well, the faster it dries, the faster I can keep working on it. Which technically, yeah. Basically, what I'm going to do to try to amend the situation is use epoxy clay. Epoxy clay comes in two parts that are then mixed together, and it dries using a chemical process. So it is highly unlikely that it will crack at all. The kind of epoxy clay that I have in theory should dry white. So it should hopefully blend in with the structure that I already have pretty well. That's it. I got my hair up because knowing me, it would be a problem if I didn't do that. I got my gloves on. I'm now going to mix parts A and B and hope for the best. And then we're just gonna start covering things. So I do want to be, oh, it is kind of gray, but apparently it dries white. Ah, that is really scary. It smells like Fritos. Oh, this stuff might be way too old. I don't know. That's concerning. Maybe it'll get better once I like mix it together. Oh, okay. I'm probably gonna need more than this. Shit, does this stuff expire? It shouldn't, right? It's like, there we go with the classic. It shouldn't, so therefore it doesn't. I don't remember seeing anything about like use by. I've had it for like a year, but a year is not that long when it comes to art supplies. I mean, like, there's oil paintings that have been around for billions of years or whatever. Billions? Defed, no. There's oil paintings that have been around for a long time, okay? Okay, I'm gonna try and get like about that sized of a ball from the other one. This stuff is hard too. Shit. Do I need to grab like a knife? I'm kind of hoping this plastic fork works because I don't want to have to clean a metal knife because I worry I won't be able to get all the chemicals off of it and I don't want anybody to get sick. Okay, that looks like about the same size as this, like once I smush it, I think. Now, I probably maybe should have measured this more exactly, but I feel like it looks right. So it should work. And no, that's not the same logical fallacy that got me into this problem in the first place. It's a different logical fallacy somehow. So my fallacy, more like my phallus. Oh, bro, that's so funny. Okay, I'm going to mix these. I'm kind of scared. What if like something blows up or something? Ah, okay. It's really hard to do this with gloves on. I think now though I am good to start using it to try to seal those cracks. The hard part with this is you can't smooth it out with water. I think it said on here there's some kind of solvent you need to smooth it out. I don't have that. So I'm just gonna do my best with my fingers. My other concern is like, hopefully this paper stuff is dry enough that it won't impact the curing process of this. The materials that are in this stuff are just basically water, paper, and some kind of binding agent, which hopefully won't impact this at all. I'm gonna roll this into like a little worm, maybe. Again, like I probably should have some kind of surface that I'm working on. I don't want to get this table too dirty, even though clearly I've already used it for arts and crafts, mostly because I don't want to clean it. I'm just kind of using my hands to try to do this. Oh, okay. This material is really wanting to stick to my gloves rather than where I'm wanting to put it, which probably means I should put a new pair of gloves on. I, however, am probably not going to do that because again, that would require getting up. I am really a lazy artist, incredibly so, and it's a bit frustrating for me because I run into these situations all the time where it's like, okay, this problem could have been solved in like 2 seconds had you attempted even mildly to solve it, which I will not be doing. Should I have grabbed my clay tools? Yes. Am I going to? What do you think? This is probably gonna take forever. And some of these cracks I'm not really worried about. Anything where it looks like chunks of this could just fall clean off, I'm like a little concerned about. There's like a few ones in here that are cosmetic more than anything, but honestly, with it being Ratty Bear, I feel like she would have like some cracks in her walls. And any of these where I'm like concerned that it might just like fall apart or crumble, I'll address, but a lot of these on the inside, I'm just not gonna worry about, to be honest. So I think this is done for now. I'm gonna leave the crack. Hopefully this all cures okay. I guess it takes, what does it take? 24 hours? 24-hour full cure. I didn't use all my clay, but that's okay. Maybe I'll try and make something out of this. What should I do with this? Should I try and make like a little star or something to go up there? I have like an idea. Kind of make like an abstract little star shape. Like this kind of a thing. Maybe like go right up here. That's kind of cute. I kind of like that. I'm back. I realized that even though the epoxy clay takes 24 hours to cure, that I didn't add any to the inside, and the inside is pretty much dry, so I can start actually decorating it. Yay! I got this big thing of paper. I kind of want to do like a ripped wallpaper vibe. It's for Ratty Bear, so a lot of the purples and like pastels. There should be some interesting textures in here for like the wallpaper, maybe the flooring, but I want the floor to have more of like a real texture. I like this. I'm gonna rip out the ones that I want, and if I don't use them, I can put them back in there. I thought this one might be good for her. It's kind of like purpley. This texture is kind of nice too. Color-wise, I don't mind it because it kind of goes with some of the warmer tones. That could be some good pops of color. I think that's all that was in there that I sort of found interesting. I think this purple is really pretty with her. I love this texture, so I definitely want to add maybe in these top corners a bigger swatch of this that's kind of like torn. I like this too, this like flowery pattern, and it kind of matches some of the tan tones on her. Same with this one. This texture is a little bit more structured. It's a little bit warmer too. It's almost too warm, so I would probably only add this one in like a couple smaller areas. I do really like the purples on there, so I think I would add a few areas of that. I don't want to do too much with this pattern because I feel like it could get a little bit overpowering. I think just because of the size of the pattern, it could be maybe distracting. I do think it goes really well with her though. I think it's really cute. And this one I think is going to be a little bit too pink, so I might not use this one. I might save this for another project. The camera angles on this are not ideal at all, but like we just gotta work with it. Hopefully you can mostly see what I'm doing. Thing first, I'm just kind of gonna cut this one down. I'm just gonna kind of see what happens if I like rip this. I'm also kind of gonna see if I can just peel like a section of this up. Peeling just the top part. I want this crack in the middle here to be like kind of visible because I think it's really cool. This could be interesting like on the floor or on the wall. I think it's maybe a bit too much color and pattern wise to like go on the floor. So I think I'm gonna put it up in this corner maybe. This corner. You can kind of see like it could go, that section could go up there actually. I do really like that. I think then with it being in that upper corner, I kind of want it to be a little bit down here as well. It's just like a little section like that. This pattern, which that's a little bit more of a statement. I think I might do that one on like this side wall next to this one, but I think in that upper corner I want it to be this. Works out really well. Needs to be something up here. I kind of want it to give like she's living in like a little abandoned like house that she found, but she feels right at home there because she's also like kind of stitched together. I think I've got my plan of what I want to do. I might go grab some museum wax just so I can like at least sort of temporarily tack this in place and then figure out what I want to do with the floor because I haven't made my mind up yet. One of our options is to use these like little craft sticks, a wood flooring type texture. I would cut these down so they won't be like rounded. I just kind of want to see if I like the color of them. Obviously they can be painted and everything. I mean, I do kind of like the wood texture. I think the wood might be the winner, honestly. I'm just kind of gonna cut the ends off of this and it makes like an imperfect cut. Kind of do it the wrong way here too, like, and it'll make these like splits. So my video cut out, but I did realize that I didn't want to start gluing the paper down anyway until I had sealed this. I did seal the paper clay with this Liquitex matte varnish, and that's gonna like at least partially waterproof this and UV protect it. I just wanted to make sure I sealed that before I started adding anything that would make it difficult to seal around. I'll still need to seal the outside later. I'll probably want to sand these down a little bit more because it's still looking a little bit lumpy. But my sander was just not making too much of a dent in it and I didn't want to do it anymore. And this project is for fun, so if I don't want to do something, I'm probably just not gonna. Now that this is sealed, I'm gonna start gluing in the wallpapery pieces. I don't have any like normal glue, so Mod Podge. I feel like that's gonna be the best option. Hopefully this doesn't make it super glossy. If it does, I'll go over it with some matte stuff. I'm just gonna like apply it to the back of the piece of paper with this brush and then stick it in there where I want it to go. apply this where I wanted it. Try and really get that flat. It looks so cool. Now I'm gonna start plotting and scheming where I'm gonna put these little things. I haven't cut all of them yet. Once I know exactly where I want them, I'm gonna secure them with wood glue. I think that looks cool. I feel like she fits right in. I do feel like these popsicle sticks are like a little bit too yellow almost, so I might like do like a light wash of like some white paint after they're secured. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take a picture of what I have right now for a reference, and then I'm just gonna start gluing them down piece by piece. Okay, I think the wood glue is dry enough that we can paint it. I'm just gonna put a little bit of paint on here. Sorry if you can hear my cats munching and crunching on their dinner. That's because they are doing that. So I just get a little bit of paint on my brush. I wipe a lot of it off. I'm just kind of loosely brushing it on so you can still see a lot of the texture underneath it. I'm not trying to completely cover the wood. I just kind of want it to have a little bit lighter of a tone. So that's not how you paint things. If you step in this paint, I swear to God, I'm gonna turn you into a rug. And neither of us want that. I'll leave it at that for now. 2 cats. I do kind of want to see if I can figure out something with this yarn. Oh, perfect. I have like some scraps at the bottom. Anyone who crochets or knits is going to look at this and be like, electric chair. And believe me, I get it. I would probably have the same response. I feel like if we just kind of like string them up, like up here, if we just kind of loosely hang it from the hook for now. That gives some like dimension to it, I think. Hopefully my phone decides to record and keep recording. That would be really cool. I kind of like played around with the yarn. I couldn't get it to stick, so I'm gonna try it with this stuff. It's all-purpose adhesive and it dries really quick. The hard thing about the yarn is there's like a lot of tiny fibers. Like this is a very fluffy yarn, and so you have to put a lot of glue on there, and it's hard to get it to stay in place for long enough for like the glue to dry. I did sand down the outside of this a little bit more. I don't think it made a difference, and I think it's at a point where like I just have to give up, accept that it's flawed and move on, because like from the front it looks fine. The last thing I'm gonna do is inside of this little star thing that I made, I'm gonna put some nail polish. Look how pretty. This is Iris Illusion, so write that down. I'm gonna try to glue some yarn onto this thing. Okay, I'm kind of let the glue dry on that for a second, just so it's tacky when I put it in there, and hopefully it doesn't just get a bunch of glue on my finger, which is definitely about to happen. Okay, that worked pretty good in like sticking it there. Do I like that? I suppose I like that. I think I do also want like part of the string to kind of come down a little bit. Maybe like to like right here. Does it look okay? Does we still like it? Okay, cute. I'm gonna do the nail polish first, and then I'm just gonna varnish it off screen because it's not that interesting. Oh, I forgot how nail polish smells. Probably have to do a couple coats of that, so. In about 15 minutes, which I don't know what 8 plus 15 is, girl, I'm not a math major. Like, numbers have vibes, but math is like an exact science. How are you supposed to add and subtract and divide the vibes of things in a way that isn't abstract when the numbers themselves are abstract? How are you supposed to do that? 8 plus 8 should be 14. It's 16? 8 plus 8 is 16? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make sense. 16? 6 doesn't go with 8. 6 doesn't go with 8. I don't know how to feel about 5. 4 is pretty cute. She's like the little kid in My Neighbor Totoro. And 8 is like Totoro in some ways. Hopefully that's enough. I'm gonna do one more layer of this. But you can kind of see the shine when you really look at it. There she is. Yay! Ta-da! It's done. Hopefully this is in focus. I don't have my glasses on because the glare was really bad, so anything could be happening on the screen right now and I would have no clue. I realized that I didn't talk at all about how I planned to hang this on the wall. Basically, I just carved out a little hole in the back of it so that I could get like a nail or something through it. It wasn't that crazy. I'm really happy with the texture. I'm really happy with the details. I think it goes with her very well, which I'm very happy about. I do want to make more of these. I think it's a really nice, like, low pressure project. Let me know if you guys want to see more of these, and if so, like, if there's a specific skull panda you'd like to see me make a little home for. I think that would be really fun. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.